what we need to nourish our tree of enlightenment, we can find it in our own emotional waste. It's a sort of, we could say, recycling process. So mind training is about recycling emotional waste. You know, so you have plastic, glass, aluminum, paper. Add one more: emotions. You know, emotions in the Buddhist perspective mean anger, aggression, passionate attachment, jealousy, arrogance, whatever. You know, you need a big basket. Okay, so we know now that waste can be recycled. We do it with, you know, paper, with all things, and organic waste, and so on. We can also do it with our own emotional waste. So mind training is trying to teach us that we don't have to hope for a better world to be better. We can work here and now with what we have and recycle it into a beautiful energy of generosity and intelligence. It's possible. So Atisha taught in a very progressive way, step by step, so that everybody could at some point join in. You know, we are all different. We're all unique and all different. We have different capacities. We have different aspirations. And so we have to find a way to fit in the teachings of the Buddha. And there's many ways to connect, many ways to enter, let's say, this path, many access to this path. So that's why we have step by step. So first we work on, you know, basic training, we could say, you know, sit, cultivate mindfulness, see in you the tendency to hurt, and see that the tendency to help actually need to be developed. And the tendency that are hurting, even if the motivation to hurt is not here, what we do is so clumsy that in the end it hurts. You know, so cultivate a sense of mindfulness. Observe your body, your speech, your mind, and try to tame them. Not suppress. Taming is not suppressing. You know, it's like if you want to tame a horse. You know, you can use a whip, or you can be whispering in the ear. You know, it's not the same way, and you don't have the same result. Okay, so taming in the Buddhist perspective is ear whisper, and that's why our tradition is called kagyu. You know, ear whispering tradition. I don't know if it has something to do with horses, but a lot with men and women. So that's the basic work we have to do. We all have to do that. You cannot use a wild mind. It even hurts itself. So first you have to tame your mind. And then as you tame your mind, you come to know it better. And you come to find the resources. You come to find the treasures that, being so busy, you never saw, never noticed. It takes a little bit of calm and silence and mindfulness, observation, to see what is, what has to be tamed, transformed, maybe abandoned, what has to be developed, and what is that we didn't see. You know, the natural beauty, the natural treasure of mind, because it's there. So Gampopa, for the first years of his spiritual path, was a student in this tradition of Atisha. But later on, he met with the great yogi and poet Milarepa, who was the embodiment of the Kagyu lineage, and he was the embodiment of what a yogi is, living in caves, remote areas, high mountains of Tibet, always in retreat. And so this tradition and the practice of this tradition at this point were really for the few happy few, because it sort of required a total commitment. So nobody is ready, not everybody is ready to jump there immediately. So Gampopa has his first years training in a step-by-step approach. Then he met his teacher, who has a tremendous effect on him, so that his realization is really blooming. And he really realized fully and completely the nature of his mind. He's totally free, liberated, the same self. So at this point, he decided that he could sort of merge those two streams into one stream. And this is what our tradition is now. Many steps, many access, but also you can go very high. There's no limitation. And so Gampopa is very famous for his knowledge of Buddhist scriptures, and also his capacity to take the essential point out of the sutras and combine them in a very simple expression. Very simple, yet very deep. So we have here now 4 lines, and I could talk for weeks on these 4 lines. Well, I'm very talkative, but anybody else could also talk for weeks on these 4 lines. And it's really important to have for us somebody who can sort of create a sort of digest of Buddha's words in a very simple way. We don't have time to spend 20 years, 30 years studying all the sutras, all the commentaries, and so on. Unfortunately, if we could have the time, that would be wonderful. But we don't have it. So what we need is somebody who helps us to find the key point. You know, it's like when you come to college, if you don't have somebody who can tell you, well, this is important, this is extremely important, or this is secondary. You know, you don't know how to select what you have really to study, you know, what you have to emphasize in your study. And so you probably waste time, and probably you pick up the wrong topics, and then actually the very important topics, you don't have time to study them. So it's good when you have a professor, a mentor, somebody who's going to tell you, okay, this you can forget. It's good, but it's not so important. But work on that. And that's what Gampopa did in our tradition. He brought the monastic tradition, step by step, of Atisha, together with the yogi tradition. Yogi means lay practitioner who don't maybe have a monastic lifestyle, of Milarepa, in one stream. So that nowadays you have many ways to access, many entries, we could say, to these wonderful teachings. So he wrote a very important book that has been translated in several Western languages, and you have it in English, called The Jewel Ornament of Liberation. And this is like a jewel ornament of liberation. Is it the proper text? Proper term? Yeah. What's the publisher? Jewel Ornament of Liberation, Gampopa, google.com. Okay. So it's what we call in Tibetan a lam rem, which means progressive path. So it's in 6 points. He will explain where we are, where we go, and how to go. It's a roadmap. It's not easy to read, but it's much easier than the sutras, I tell you. And if you have some sort of help to read it, you may discover in a very practical way lots of things that are going to be very, very helpful.